It's time, Fort Wayne. Your sports, your station. It's the Sports Rush with Brett Rump.
Max Landis.
Covering all the topics that hit a nerve here in the Summit City.
Clark, 11 yards, touchdown.
Only on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM. Now here's your host, Brett Rump.
The greatest, most interesting, most important person of all time.
You are incredible. Over them once. Yeah, well, you're half right. What is this, amateur hour?
This is going to be huge. I believe this is going to be our finest hour.
Just when I think you said the stupidest thing ever, you keep talking.
I think that's the worst thing I've ever heard.
That boy ain't right.
The simplest way to put it, I have problems.
Welcome to the alleged show.
Believe me, just watch.
Here we go. We are taking you home on a Monday. It is the Sports Rush, your daily local sports fix, 4 to 6. I am Brett Rump along with Adam Lundy, and we've got you connected on the Parkview Sports Medicine text line, 260-447-8500. It is another Monday edition with the great Don Fisher coming up in hour number 2. Of course, it's our 15 minutes with Fish. And we'll talk to the legendary Hall of Fame play-by-play broadcaster of the Indiana Hoosiers, Don Fisher, coming up at about 5:20. But we also have the text line open, 260-447-8500, the Parkview Sports Medicine text line. Your questions, comments, or suggestions, love to hear from you. And you can watch us today. We are back on Facebook, streaming live video, and I think Adam at least tells me, he is our technical producer for this radio program, and he tells me that we are pumping in the audio, so it will be no problem listening to the show while you watch the show on Facebook. You should get a nice, full audio.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I'll do a double check here as soon as I can, make sure we're all good on the audio front. But should be able to come through loud and clear just as you would hear our show on the radio.
That is one of the issues that we have always had, is trying to figure out how can we do video and not have to scream across the room to be able to have you hear us. And then the other part is, how do you hear things like callers that we've got or guests that might join the program? And so we're testing a little bit of a new system here. We've got wires going everywhere. But we do think that you've got audio with the video today at Facebook. Of course, it's facebook.com/1380thefan on Facebook.
You got it. And we hope to see you there. And, stop by, hang out. As long as you're not driving. That's what we always say. Stop by. Just don't do it while you're behind the wheel of a moving vehicle.
And you can always leave us messages there. We've got our comments open. So if you've got anything you'd like to add to the weekend of sports, we would love to hear it. And, it's always a disappointing day when you have the day after the big draw and the ping pong balls have done their thing, and I really can't build my argument for why the tournament should be seeded. While I strongly believe that we're in a situation now where exposure, most people get a chance to see the teams. You also have all the analytics that kind of measure teams and how powerful they are in their class, in their sectional. You've got the Sagarin ratings. You've got everything at your disposal to be able to lay out a seeding for each sectional and be sure that the most powerful teams in each sectional would not meet until a sectional championship. And you also have the opportunity to take some of the weaker teams and put them into those Tuesday games, so you kind of weed out some of the weaker teams as you move through the week. And I'm all for both sides of that. I think the best teams have earned the right through their regular season performance to get buys. And I think the teams that have struggled during the regular season, they should be done really early so they can go on to their spring sports and maybe have a better performance in whatever spring sport they participate in. I'm all for it. But I got to be honest, the ping pong balls didn't necessarily give me anything to scream and rant about today. I know it's a bummer. It takes one whole segment out of the show.
That takes like a whole 15-minute rant out of the show.
It's the annual rant, and I can't really make it. I mean, the only game that I thought jumped out at me that should not have happened was Columbia City and Northwood. because that's. What is the banging going on?
That would be our resident
is that
drummer.
Our rock star that's in the next door studio? Okay, can you? I don't know if you can hear it on the air, but I'm hearing it through my headphones and I'm feeling it on the counter.
Yeah, we might need to go tell him to.
Somebody is really banging things away over there.
Calm the drumming down.
Woo. Anyway, yeah, it's just us in our little booth, and you'd think with an audio radio station we would have soundproof. Nope.
This thing is made out of cardboard.
Yeah, I think this is like one of those temporary divider that you have in offices or something.
Yeah.
This is like a piece of cork or something, and he's right on the other side. And I could pound on this wall. And for those of you that are watching us on Facebook, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I could pound on this wall, and he would probably get the message. But I was wondering, because I'm like, okay, I know we've got a new audio system. Is there something going wrong with it right now? Because I'm hearing this vibration and this banging noise. No, it's just our drummer in the next door studio. 260-447-8500, a Parkview Sports Medicine text line, 260-447-8500.
I have confirmed that our Facebook stream is giving out the audio from our board here. So,
wow,
so
look at that. Adam has come up with a great idea, and he's even made it work, which is the remarkable part of it.
That is. So, yeah, we are coming through loud and clear on Facebook.
And so you can jump on Facebook.com/1380thefan, and you can watch the Sports Rush today. We'll be on until probably at least another hour.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'd say so.
We like to give it at least an hour when we do get everything connected. Now, you were on Friday night doing the Facebook Live, right?
Yeah, we had a Facebook Live
from Pine Valley Pizza Hut.
Pine Valley Pizza Hut following the game on Friday at Bishop Dwenger.
I got a chance to tune in a little bit.
Yeah, that was a good game.
Now, did it come up and say Brett Rump is watching?
No, we didn't get that, but we did get your message.
I think I tried to click a button that said, I will watch anonymously. Didn't want to tip you off that I was.
Well, then it doesn't help if you just comment, "What's up, gentlemen?"
Yeah, that kind of gave myself away when I like, "What's up?
What's up, guys?"
Yeah. But that was very late in the show.
That was true.
And so it was kind of after I'd been watching a few minutes, and I thought, I'll let them know I've been, that it's not in vain that they set everything up, that I am here watching, enjoying their little broadcast from the Pine Valley Pizza Hut while I sat in my hotel room in Indianapolis. Oh, you know where we stayed?
Where'd you stay?
J.W. Marriott.
Okay. Life of luxury with the Dons on the road here. I didn't know.
Along with like 10,000 volleyball players.
Hey.
Probably ages 12 to 16.
Oh, never mind. I was hoping it would
girls volleyball.
College or older, usually better.
Yeah, no. This was just a bunch of girls, and you know how they get in their packs and they run through the hotel, and then they jump on they're on the elevator, all giggly.
Crazy.
Yeah, I know. I'm too old. I'm the old. But I was up on an upper floor, and if I tried to go downstairs, it was every floor I had to stop.
They love playing on the elevator too. Don't
they would get on and. And they'd get on the 18th floor, and they'd go to the 16th floor and get back off.
Yeah, to go visit their friends' room.
Yeah, they'd go visit their friends. So it was a little bit of a pain in the you-know-what. But, but it's a beautiful place to stay if you've never had the opportunity. We were pretty high up overlooking Lucas Oil Stadium, the Capitol, and downtown Indianapolis. What a great view to be able to look out over the city. It was it was a nice Friday night, and what did I do with that beautiful view? I sat and watched a high school post-game show live from the Pine Valley Pizza Hut. You guys did a fine job.
Thank you. It was a fun game to talk about. Bishop Lures obviously showing their dominance, but some times where they were tried by the younger Dwenger team.
Yeah, I caught a little bit of the game, and I will just be in full disclosure. Coach Kaufman has a son that plays for Dwenger.
Yeah.
And so he was very much into the game, and I was checking it out and trying to follow the game as much as possible because our rule was I would record the pregame interview with Coach Kaufman as soon as the Dwenger game with Lures ended. And it was actually a little more exciting than I thought.
Right. Yeah, good stuff there from the young guys on Bishop Dwenger.
So, it ended up being a pretty competitive game. Rivalry games sometimes are like that, and I think you had the same thing Saturday with the Mastodons in a rivalry game against IU Indianapolis.
What a game that was.
The Jaguars, or Metros as they were known Saturday, pesky. They would not go away.
No. Every time the Dons tried to get a sizable lead, it would just go right back down to right around 5, 6, 7, 8, right around that range, and it just kept on getting scary.
Yeah.
Even with 1 minute left, it got scary. I mean,
well, geez, the Dons had at that point, I think, 6 turnovers the entire game, and did not have a single turnover the second half until the last minute of the ball game. And then turned it over on 4 consecutive possessions.
Yeah, and there were 2 off the inbound where you said they were getting full court pressed, and they threw it right to the back corner.
Back corner, where it's the last place you want to inbound the ball is into the back corner. And what happened? They jumped on the double team, trapped them, and twice Dons turned it over. And so, and then Jalen Jackson, I think just out of fatigue, was dribbling down the court heading for the basket. And he just stumbled.
Yeah.
That line monster jumped up and got him. He just crumbled to the ground, and the ball bounced away from him, and they got that one. I can't even remember what the other turnover was, but it was when Jalen stepped out of bounds.
Yep.
And they decide to come up the court. He avoids the trap by circling out of bounds. And it's like, okay, there's a reason that big black line is there, Jalen. You got to stay on the inside part of it.
The old sideline maneuver.
Oh, yeah. So the Dons kind of made it interesting, but not really. I mean,
they had a good enough lead.
You knew who was going to win.
Yeah.
You're just disappointed the margin wasn't more than it was because the Dons actually played better than an 11-point game.
Agreed. Much better.
Yeah. So the Dons get the 91-80 win. And how about the performance from Jalen Jackson?
Yes, sir.
Oh, my. This guy put up some numbers. 38 points, which just so happens to be tied with somebody named John Conchar.
I've heard of him.
For the 3rd best single-game performance in Mastodons history. Yes. This is Jalen Jackson, the former Carroll/Northrop product, who is playing in his hometown. 38 points in the game Saturday. 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, and then even, for good measure, had a block of a 3-point try with about a minute left in the game. He filled the stat sheet. He is now the number 12 scorer in all of college basketball, averaging over 20 points per game, 20.4 per contest. That makes him number 12 on the top scoring list in NCAA Division I.
Let's give him another round of applause. Come on.
Oh, we're gonna wear out the applause if we keep going.
Yeah,
because he's also 22nd in the nation in total free throw attempts. What did he take, 16 or 18 or something?
Something like that.
I lost track of how many he took. 18 free throw attempts. He was 14 for 18 at the free throw line, and that puts him number 22 in the country in total free throw attempts on the season. And earlier today, we learned that Jalen Jackson has been named, after going a year and a half without earning a Player of the Week honor, Jalen Jackson, for the 2nd consecutive week, is your Player of the Week in the Horizon League.
Oh, yeah.
All right, and I feel like Jalen Jackson's PR machine, but he's earned every bit of it.
Oh, yeah.
And during the game on Saturday, he had this moment. Now Jackson, a drive, comes to a jump stop, gives a shot fake, and then goes up and lays it in. Jalen Jackson over 1,000 points for his Mastodons career. 1,001 now as a Don for the hometown product, Jalen Jackson. Jalen Jackson goes over 1,000 as a Mastodon. Now, about a month ago, he went over 1,000 for his Division I career, which included his first year at UIC. But then he's now over 1,000 strictly as a Mastodon.
One more.
By the way, Jalen Jackson will be joining us for the Mastodons Coaches Show coming up tomorrow night.
Oh, you'll want to tune into that. Lot to talk about with Jalen.
And a big game coming up on Thursday. We'll give you more details on that coming up. By the way, Mastodons is a team now second in the country in fewest turnovers per game. They're fifth in the country in turnover margin. They're fourth in the country in number of three-pointers made per game. Sixth in the country in three-point percentage, 28th in the country in field goal percentage overall, 10th in the country in effective field goal percentage. They're 12th in assist-to-turnover ratio, and they're 33rd in free throw percentage. They put up some numbers. They're an impressive team to watch, and you're going to have a chance to see a pretty exciting game coming up Thursday night in front of a nationally televised crowd. As the Mastodons take on the Cleveland State Vikings. It's a battle of a team tied for second in the league versus the first-place team. It is a huge matchup, first one of the season between Purdue, Fort Wayne, and Cleveland State with a 9:05 tip is what I'm told. I'm told it's 9:05, and it could float slightly due to the first game that will be broadcast that night by ESPNU, but it will be a national broadcast available for viewers nationwide right here from the Allen County War Memorial Coliseum.
It's the place to be on Thursday night, no other way to put it. I mean, you heard all those stats that you just rattled out. It's one of the best quality basketball teams in the nation and one of the best in the league. Why not? You know, be a part of a national broadcast, support the team, and have a lot of fun on Thursday night.
By the way, should I do it again?
Do you want to do it? I haven't set anything up.
Okay, we're not going to do it yet.
Okay.
We're going to do it.
We're going to do it.
We're going to do it.
And if you know what we're talking about, you better get those texting fingers ready.
Let's just say if you want to go to the game Thursday night and you're debating on whether or not you've got the money to buy the tickets, hey, don't worry about it. Just stick right here with the Sports Rush.
It's coming.
I may just give you a chance to get your tickets on me.
All right, stay tuned for that. Yes, sir.
All right, let's find out what's happened in the world of sports. Today's top headlines with Adam Lundy.
Let's get into it, Brett. Checking in on today's top headlines. The Detroit Lions are working to hire Denver Broncos pass-game coordinator John Morton as their offensive coordinator, sources told Adam Schefter today. Morton would be replacing Ben Johnson, who was hired as the Chicago Bears head coach. New Colts defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo is bringing one of his trusted Cincinnati lieutenants with him to Indy. The Colts are hiring James Betcher. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that last name.
Oh, you're pronouncing it right, and I bet what you don't know is he's got Fort Wayne ties.
I've heard he's had some Indiana ties. We'll have to break those down.
Fort Wayne ties.
260.
He played and coached at St. Francis.
Oh, very cool. Shout out to the Cougars, yeah. So he'll be joining the Colts after he spent the past 3 seasons in the same position with Anarumo in Cincinnati. And some national news that just came out on the old Twitter timeline. Jimmy Butler walked out of the Heat shoot-around this morning after being informed the team is planning not to start him with Haywood Highsmith starting moving forward. Boy. So that's the latest in the Jimmy Butler drama.
Boy.
Looks like they're getting...
What on earth? It just... You know, and Miami's always been respected as kind of like the Pittsburgh Steelers of the NBA, right? Well-run organization, good quality decisions. And this has become a dumpster fire. And I blame Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
I mean, you're under a contract, and there's better ways to do it than going public. And you know, it's become too much of a distraction, and it's hurting the team now. You're seeing them lose games they should win. Now he's going to pout because he's not starting. You know, it's like, well, you've suspended yourself how many times? We can't keep starting you just because you do show up for a game once every, 7 or 8 times out there.
Right. There was the 7-game suspension, and then he missed a team flight that resulted in another 2-game suspension. So, and then now he's going to walk off after getting benched, apparently. So he's not going to be playing. Now,
I could see where what Jimmy Butler's doing is going to force Miami to trade him. But the question is anybody really going to want him at this point?
And that's another thing. It's not even just a matter of another team wanting him. It has to be a team that he wants to go to, apparently, too. Because, I mean, there was a talk about Memphis trying to work out a deal for him.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at the list. Here it is. Here's the list of teams Jimmy Butler will go to. The Phoenix Suns.
That's it. That's all you got. Yeah.
That's pretty much. So, in other words, he's pulling all this with Miami. but the options of teams that are out there for him includes a list of one. And I think, Bradley Beal will be part of a deal going back?
Yeah, it'd be a Bradley Beal, something else, one of their younger guys deal.
And Memphis has plenty of resources to send to Miami, and it could include John Conchar, but they would have plenty of resources to send to make a Jimmy Butler deal, but yet I don't know if that's where he wants to end up because he's got his mind set on going out to Phoenix and joining KD, I guess.
It's that player power.
Because KD's had such great success at winning championships. That's the guy you want to go hang on and hold on to.
Yeah, everywhere besides those Steph Curry and Klay Thompson Warriors, he hasn't won anything.
Yeah.
Checking the text line real quick before we go to break. Somebody texted in they've been working 50 to 60 hours a week and haven't gotten a chance to listen lately. Shout out to you putting those hours in. They say the Bills got screwed. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. In fact, we'll talk about that next. We'll come back and we'll talk about what happened yesterday in the NFL. The Super Bowl is set. And, did one of the teams get there fair and square? Because that's the big debate going on today on social media. It's all part of the Sports Rush on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM. You know what I did on the road trip this weekend? I got on the bus Friday evening. We went with a quick trip down to Indianapolis. I get there and realize I forgot my phone charger. I don't think I've done it before. Because I don't remember the panic that I felt when I realized my phone was about to die and I had no phone charger. Well, there's always a chain email or a chain text that's out there for everybody in the Mastodon's travel party. And I sent a message and said, anybody got a charger for an iPhone that I can borrow for about the next hour? And I'm thinking if I get a good hour of power, I'm good. And, of course, because of the great amount of love that they showed to me, no one responded. And so I sat there and just prayed it would not completely die because I was scheduled to interview Kaufman for our pregame interview. Usually, just full disclosure, we do it the night before.
What? No.
Yeah, he doesn't like to be bothered with game day because there's so many other details he's taking care of. So, Coach Kaufman, I got to give him a shout out. He bailed me out.
Did he get you a charger?
Not only did he give me a charger, but he let me hang in his room and watch the Boilermakers Michigan game while he was working away on his computer. And I got to sit my phone on his charger while I watched Purdue, Michigan.
Man, that was a good game for Purdue, too. Blew out Michigan. So, yeah, hey, good time there.
His room's bigger than my apartment, so it was even better than a typical Friday night for me. But anyway, so that was my trip this weekend. Then, of course, came back. Now, I told you, I think I brought it up, that one of the things I was really looking forward to about this trip down to Indy was my daughter and her fiance were going to meet me for dinner, right? Because they live down in Indy, and it would be perfect.
Friday night.
So I send a message, and I say, might want to plan on about 7:30. We just left. I said, should be getting to the hotel 7:15 to 7:30. Just plan on 7:30. She sends me a reply, tomorrow, right? Oh, no. No.
Say it's not so.
Like I've been looking forward to this all week. And I said, no, we're meeting for dinner tonight. And I went back through the sequence. And if you go through, I said, first, here was the chain of texts I had to my daughter. It started with, we're going to be playing down in Indianapolis on Saturday at 2 o'clock. Would you like tickets?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
She said, no, can't go to the game. And she said, what about meeting for dinner? I said, hey, that'd be awesome. We're going to arrive at around 7:30. Okay, now, if my first text says we're playing a game at 2 o'clock and I'm getting there at 7:30, what part of that would make you believe that it's going to be Saturday night when I'm available to have dinner?
Yeah.
Oh,
no.
Yeah.
Little misunderstanding there.
So no dinner with the daughter. Still didn't see her. Had to come back on the bus. And so
That's rough.
Yeah, we did miss out on that. But the problem is, if I'd have gotten down there and had to text her to tell her it's time to meet, I might not have had a phone to be able to text her. 260-447-8500. So yesterday, the conference championships, and the Philadelphia Eagles easily dispose of the Washington Commanders. No drama there. Philadelphia just dominated the Commanders. And, in fact, as the game went on, they seemed to take more and more control of the game, eventually blowing out the Commanders 55-23. But the second game was really the showcase, right? That's the game everybody wanted to see. The Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Buffalo Bills. Would this be the year for Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills to finally get past their nemesis, get into the Super Bowl? And the answer is no.
No.
And, of course, everybody wants to jump to conclusions that the referees are fixing this so that the Kansas City Chiefs continue to advance to Super Bowls, trying to make history. Plus, it keeps the wave of momentum the NFL has gained from Taylor Swift. It keeps it alive because now it's Taylor Swift coming to another Super Bowl to cheer on her boyfriend, Travis Kelce. Well, first of all, I enjoy conspiracies as much as the next person.
You do.
But I don't think there's anything going on here that the NFL's intentionally trying to fix. There's too many people that would have to be involved. And I just don't think they would take that chance. It's a bazillion-dollar industry, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's the money
credibility is what the league's all about. I mean, when it comes to betting on the league, when it comes to sponsorships, if they lost credibility, they would lose everything. And so I don't think they would take that chance. But there could also be some human nature that tends to favor the favorites. It's like officiating. You always expect you're going to get the raw end of about 3 or 4 50-50 calls on the road in college basketball. Officials are human. They get sucked into that emotion of the crowd, and they want to make the big call and make the big wave. The ball belongs to the other team and have the home crowd cheer because officials don't get cheered too often. That's one way they can get cheered is if they make the big call for the home team. And so, I mean, there's some human nature involved here, but it doesn't mean they don't make mistakes. Even if it's not intentional, they make mistakes. And sometimes we have to question because the whole reason there's a conspiracy is because they are mistakes that in our own mind we can't rationalize. Like, for instance, when a Buffalo Bills player goes up, gets 2 hands on a football for an interception, as he comes to the ground, the ball comes to the ground with him as the Kansas City receiver gets a hand on it, and it clearly bounces off the turf. Now, I cannot see because the rule says if the ball hits the turf, it's not necessarily a guaranteed incomplete pass. What has to happen is there has to be control that was established before going to the ground, and the control must be maintained through the ball hitting the turf. I don't know that he ever had control because as he's falling, he's just reaching with his hand, trying to get a hand on the football, and I don't think that was really control. In my mind, when you look at the replay, I don't think the offensive player at the time the ball went down and hit the turf had truly established that he had control of the football. He had a hand on the football. And when it hit the turf and he landed almost on the football where he could easily tuck the other hand on top of it and make it look like a completed catch. To me, it should have, on replay, been overruled and been an incomplete pass. That's the way I saw it.
Yeah, that's what I saw, too. I never really saw enough what you would call control of the ball before it hit the ground. I mean, he kind of came down with it with one arm with the defender right on him, and he kind of, slightly pinned it, I would say. That's the closest thing to control. But I didn't think it was enough.
Yeah, his body, his one hand, and the ground all kind of basically pin, like you said, pin the football.
Right.
It had nowhere to go.
Right, but I didn't think of it as a catch or control necessarily, no.
No, I would have ruled it an incomplete pass. The other one that everybody's raging about today is the Josh Allen play, where First of all, on the field, it looked like he got the first down. One of the side judges comes running in, clearly giving him enough for a first down. The other comes in from the other side, which I thought was the worst angle, does not give him the first down. And then they go to replay, and it ends up being no first down. Kansas City takes over the football. Huge call in the game, and I think they got that wrong.
I do too, and it was just weird that the ref with the worst angle kind of came in and overruled the one that said first down. I'll tell you what, the play before that was the run play where the defender kind of leaped forward. I didn't like the spot of that ball either.
And by the way, the ref that came in that marked that short was running in from the Kansas City sideline, and I saw a bunch of green stuff hanging out the back of his pocket. Just saying. Oh, I love a good conspiracy.
I love it. A couple texts coming in here on the text line 260-447-8500. If you want to weigh in, somebody said there are 32 billionaire owners/ownership groups in the NFL. I can't believe people really think that 31 of them would be on board and keep silent about scripting things for Kansas City dominance. Another texter texted in, a bazillion-dollar industry that can't figure out how to determine placement of the ball any more reliably than several decades ago. One other texter said the ball touched the ground, so they probably don't think it was a catch either.
Well, and here's the thing. They've talked about putting the little GPS trackers in the points of the football so they can figure out the exact advancement of a football. So whether it breaks the plane at the goal line, and that's an easy one, right?
Sure.
For spotting whether the point of the football broke the plane, because you can, with a GPS tracker, you can put in the coordinates of that goal line, and you can put in a tracker at the point of the football, and you can tell whether or not that football actually touched the plane. Here's the problem, and this was brought up on Dan Patrick this morning, and it was a great point. How does a GPS tracker determine, even though you know where the football is, how does it determine when the knee or elbow or whatever part of the body touches the ground?
Yeah, that's an interesting point, and I guess it would kind of be a matter of looking at the film and then lining it up with the data. I guess it would be kind of a matter of looking and seeing when the knee touched the ground and then syncing it up to where the ball GPS data shows that where it was.
It's like doing an MRI in the middle. Yeah. I mean, you've got to just analyze so much information. I mean,
that does make it tough
to try to figure out, because it's one thing to know where the football was, but it doesn't mean the guy's knee didn't hit and then he leaned forward with the football as his knee hit.
Right. I mean, it's not like we can put knee sensors in the ground and on everybody's knee pads and stuff like that. Yeah. So, yeah.
So I thought that, but my point is that Buffalo gave every opportunity to the officials to make a bad call or two or a questionable call or two and cost them the game. In other words, Buffalo had their moments. Mm-hmm. Trying for two when you don't need to, that's always questionable, and so often it comes back to haunt you, and I thought it did in this case for the Buffalo Bills. Also, you've got to make a first down by more than 2 or 3 inches.
Yeah, needs
James
to be
Territor gave it to him by 3 inches after evaluating the replay. You've got to clear that by a yard. So there is no question in anyone's mind that you got a first down. And it seemed like every time they went for it, it was like right at the stick. You had to figure it out.
Yeah.
And the other thing, too, is don't give up, huge plays. I mean, they had that crossing route. There was a huge play over the middle of the field that allowed Kansas City to tie it. And then they give up late or get into field goal range and win it. But that also, then they had that little swing to the back out of the backfield on that little out route where they sent everybody to the right and then snuck him out to the left, and they allowed him to turn the corner.
Yep.
And get a first down that basically put the game away. So, I mean, Buffalo, you didn't make the plays that you had chances to make to be able to win the football game, and you've got to make those plays. It's in Kansas City. There may be a slight advantage for the home team, especially with officials. And like I said, I'm not buying into the conspiracy theorists, but I do think that the refs have made mistakes this year, and it does seem like a non-coincidental number of those calls have gone in the favor of Kansas City. And then the other thing is Kansas City's won a lot of close games.
Yeah, they have.
they showed that graphic. What is it, 16 straight they've won that have been one score or less?
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. They just always find a way to.
That's Mahomes, and that's coaching, right?
Yeah. Andy Reid, man.
They know how to get it done, and even defensively, they send the blitz on the biggest play of the game, and they get to Josh Allen. I mean, and cause him to throw that lazy duck pass. But there's another play that Buffalo should have made. The receiver, if you see it in the replay, if you've not seen the replay, you're going to think, oh, that's a tough catch. It was right at the ground. Watch the replay. The ball is about knee high. It's knee high. I mean, it's not a pass that he had to struggle to get back to and it fell in front of him. No, that pass ended up about knee high, and he went down to try to catch it and didn't make the catch. That's a drop. If you watch it on replay, that pass was a drop. And that would have been a huge play there late in the game.
Yeah, definitely some missed opportunities. I also thought that a lot of times Mahomes just had an easy throwing route, 8 or 10 yards up the field. It kind of reminded me of the Gus Bradley secondary a couple times where he just had a receiver.
Everybody's open.
A receiver had, just a no defender within 5 yards of him.
Well, and the funny thing is when that guy is Travis Kelce, because you're thinking, how does Travis Kelce go off the line of scrimmage and nobody picks him up?
Yeah.
And it happened a couple of times.
It does, yeah.
And the other thing, too, is the protection for Patrick Mahomes, outstanding.
Very good.
He can sit back and he can look and see who's going to be open. And he's also pretty elusive when they do break down in pressure. But what a game for Kansas City. Kansas City, Philadelphia. Rate this one 1 through 10 on the thrill factor. How excited are you about a Super Bowl with Philadelphia and Kansas City? I'm going to give it about a 6.5.
I'm going to give it maybe like a 4.5. I'm not big on repeats. There's
cool. A historic value in this that the Chiefs can do something that's never been done before, and you have to appreciate that.
Yeah.
Now, I was talking to somebody in the office earlier today, and we were talking about how the whole country wants to complain about the Chiefs making. I said, you know what? The people who are angry, that are hateful, that are upset about, that is the ultimate respect, because they felt the same way about the Patriots. But in hindsight, once that dynasty is done, you really do, as an opponent, you have to tip your cap and respect what they were able to accomplish in a league that it is almost stacked against you to ever get that far that often. You look at an ever-evolving league with free agency, with the upside-down draft, where the worst pick first and all this, to go 3 straight years and be able to win your division, get the home games, win whether it's home or on the road. Remember, last year they had to win on the road.
Yeah.
And then to make it to the Super Bowl, and now they got a chance to win another Super Bowl. That is a remarkable feat. And I said a lot of times I think the people that are complaining and that are the most vocal about how much they can't stand Kansas City, they're probably the ones that have the greatest amount of respect for what Kansas City's just accomplished. Yeah, it was the same way for LeBron when he made 6 straight NBA championships. Everybody wanted to get on LeBron's case, but I think in hindsight, everybody respects what LeBron was able to do with a variety of different teammates in different cities and make it to a NBA championship.
Absolutely. Checking in on the text line here, 260-447-8500. Somebody does think that the billionaires are kind of in on it. They say, what do billionaires care who wins for as long as they make a profit? It all comes down to money. If you're finishing 20 through 32nd as an owner and are making $500 million a year plus, I could care less about winning.
But do you gamble that money away that a lot of people who would have to be involved? I mean, you'd have to have players involved. You'd have to have, because there has to be a call that you're able to manipulate to go against the Chiefs. You have to have a certain situation on the field, whether it's going back and counting how many 2-point conversions the Bills actually got and what they didn't get. I mean, to me, there's too much involvement necessary to get to that point to think that the NFL has any opportunity to set this up. To me, it's just the officials aren't always great. We always complain about an official or two and their calls during the playoffs because everything's magnified because of the high stakes. And in this case, I think I think clearly the biggest play that came down to just official judgment was the fourth down quarterback sneak with Josh Allen. The one that I don't get is when the referee awarded the catch to Kansas City. Because to me, everything I've been taught about the rules, it was pretty clear when CBS showed us the replay that did he establish full control on his way to the ground? No, he got one hand on it because at that point you still had a defensive player that had two hands on it and looked like he was intercepting the football. So I can't say that the offensive player had control of it at that point.
No.
And the ball went down and hit the ground.
Yeah, that one was probably the worst one by far.
Okay, here's another question. If after what we saw all the way to the point with the ball making contact on the ground, if it would have been intercepted, would it have been overturned? Would they have then ruled incomplete pass?
Interesting. Look at the text line here before we go to break. The same texter said their interest level in the Super Bowl is -1 out of 10. Somebody else said Buffalo chased points and the play calling was pathetic. Cook should have gotten the ball a lot more. Somebody else said all it takes is one whistleblower in a league made of thousands of people, not a peep about scripting ever, whether from an owner, water boy, or anyone in between.
Yep. 260-447-8500 is a chance for you to weigh in with your opinion. 260-447-8500. Also, we're on Facebook. You can watch the show today and get enhanced audio. So if you've ever gone in to watch the show on Facebook and you thought, I don't hear them all that well. Well, today we're actually pumping the sound of the broadcast right into the video, so it should be better today. And you can give us a comment, let us know what you think of the audio of our Facebook live stream. It's all happening today on a Monday edition of the Sports Rush on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
This is Maria Marquesano, head women's basketball coach at Purdue Fort Wayne, and you're listening to the Sports Rush with Brett Rump on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Great win for Maria Marquesano and women's basketball on Saturday against IU Indy. That was at the Gate Center. All they have done is just stay perfect, not only at home this year, but still perfect in the Horizon League. Hey, I got to throw a little trinket at you because something I figured out I had forgotten about.
Let me hear it.
They got a one-game lead over Green Bay, plus they've got the tiebreaker at this point. They've got a two-game lead over Cleveland State and have the tiebreaker. But here's the thing. They've played both of those teams already, right?
Yeah.
Cleveland State and Green Bay have not played each other yet. They have not played each other. So that means those two have to go head-to-head twice, where the Mastodons only have to play each of them once. And so you're going to have two losses spread somehow between Green Bay and Cleveland State, which really means they probably only have one of them they have to beat. And if things work out well, they might not have either one they have to worry about. So, now you do have to take care of your own business. I'm not taking anything for granted because you got to come to play each and every day. And, of course, IU Indy got the lead after one quarter. And the women have had trouble last, 3 games getting off to fast starts?
Yeah, they've had to kind of come back and take over a little later in the game.
And they have. They've dominated.
Yeah.
Once they start playing, they dominate. Lauren Ross, again, just incredible. I mean, she's a special player.
Yeah.
Shooting over 51% from three-point land. I mean, you look at her numbers. She is number 1 in the country in three-point percentage. She is number 3 in the country in total number of three-pointers she's made. And she's number 6 in the country when you flatten out the line and put her at the free throw line.
Crazy. Just absolutely insane numbers from the field.
She is basically a 50-50-90 person right now.
Man, I mean, you always hear, 50-40-90 is what you're aiming for. How about 50-50-90?
No, she's 50-50-90, and I think she could be only the second player all-time in NCAA Division I history to put up those numbers and the first woman to do it. So
wow,
she's on a historic pace right now. But, so big win for them, and they'll be back in action 2 road games this week. They've got to make the Youngstown State Robert Morris trip this week while the Mastodons men are at home on Thursday, but then they got to take the trip to Milwaukee.
Ooh.
So you want to talk about a big week? Taking on number 1 Cleveland State and then the team you're tied for second with to follow it on the road on Sunday at Milwaukee.
That's huge.
Tough week for Mastodons basketball. Hey, speaking of Mastodons basketball, you know that tough week with Cleveland State, the number 1 team, coming into town on Thursday?
Hey, that's going to be on ESPNU.
It's on ESPNU, national television audience.
Oh, yeah.
And they might just be looking at you if you'd like to get some tickets. And you know this is going to be on my dime.
Yeah, we want to get people there.
This is courtesy of the Sports Rush. If you'd like to go, because, we want to pack the place. It's support the Fortnite because we want America to see, and there's many reasons for this. Number one, it helps the Dons as they fight for first place in the Horizon League. But also, if you think about it, people in this city are always asking, why don't we get to host high-profile NCAA events like regional tournaments or, part of March Madness? And there was one chance we had at it, and COVID hit, and it got canceled. But believe me, the NCAA, they see these broadcasts. They see what cities are crazy about basketball. And so this is a chance for us as Fort Wayne residents to really show out and show how much we want NCAA events in our city. And so we want to fill the place. You don't want a bunch of empty seats because it looks like you've got apathy. You don't care. All right, so let's do this. Okay, we've talked about Jalen Jackson and the 38-point game he had on Saturday and how that goes into the Mastodon record books as the third best single-point scoring performance in Mastodon's history, tying him with John Conchar, currently playing with the Memphis Grizzlies. So, and Jalen Jackson today named as the Horizon League Player of the Week. So if you'd like to get a pair of tickets on me for this game on Thursday night, 9 o'clock tip, Coliseum. Here's all I ask. Number one, if you text me, go. Do not text me if you're not going to go. I do not want to waste my tickets on people who are just trying to be a, quote, winner on a radio station. But here's what I want you to do. If you'd like to be part of the excitement Thursday night, Mastodons, 8-3 in the league. Cleveland State, 10-1. Let's go. Support the Fort. Text Jackson to 260-447-8500. That's Jackson to 260-447-8500. Can't do it long. Might be 5 minutes, might be 6 minutes. Can't do it very long. But I want to give you time to be able to safely get to a stoplight or get to a parking lot or whatever you've got to legally do to be able to text us.
Yeah.
But 260-447-8500, text Jackson, and we'll give you a bounce back with a voucher to get your 2 tickets to see the Mastodons in Cleveland State Thursday night in Support the Fort night.
That's what we are. We're your local sports fix, 4 to 6, and we're going to get you some tickets to a very exciting local matchup.
Oh, great game.
Yes, sir.
And by the way, I posted this on Twitter. A lot of people have perceptions about MAC basketball, Mid-American Conference being better. I looked it up this past week, and KenPom ranks the Horizon League 4 positions higher than they rank the Mid-American Conference.
Yeah,
I mean, the Mastodons played Eastern Michigan from the MAC, beat them by 22 points.
Horizon League's where it's at.
Yeah. And so you'll see a high quality, just a good, well-played, competitive basketball game. Two really good teams. Cleveland State, Purdue Fort Wayne, the battle in the fort. Support the Fort this Thursday.
Yep,
right.
That's Jackson. 260-447-8500.
There you go. And we'll get to the top of the hour and take you home. We got John Fisher from the Indiana Hoosiers. Our 15 Minutes with Fish presented by Hoopie Insurance Services comes up about 20 minutes or so. This is the Sports Rush on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.